What's going on, guys? It's Nick here, back with another fantasy football video. This one's going to be the wide receiver rankings for PPR leagues, full point PPR. I'm not doing a half point PPR. I didn't even think I'd be doing these ones, but you guys asked for them. And in the last video, I did the running back PPR rankings, and I said I wouldn't highlight every player, but I pretty much did. So we'll just see where this one takes us. I don't want to highlight every player, but people change in PPR leagues, basically depending on if they catch more or less. And it's a lot easier for wide receivers, because basically just look what they did last year. They caught 100 balls, move them up. They caught 60 balls, move them down. But the top three doesn't change much. Antonio is obviously number one. Julio goes to number two because he catches a lot more passes than Odell. But if you want to take this tier of Brown, Julio, Odell, if you want to take them in any order, just go for it. Literally doesn't matter. I just prefer Brown, then Julio, then Odell in PPR. Then there's a drop up. Green I have at 4. Like in all the standard and everything I've always talked about, I love AJ Green this year. If you can get him anywhere in the second round, grab him. I don't like taking him with the first round pick because I prefer trying to get the guys that you're not going to be able to get in the second round. So if I can get Hopkins in the first round and then grab AJ Green in the second round, even if I have him ranked differently, I'm not going to get Hopkins in the second round, but I can sometimes get AJ Green. So you got to think about what the ADP for these guys are. Hopkins moves up a little bit. But Marshall moves up the most. I think Dez I have 5th in standard. He moves down just because he doesn't catch as many passes as these guys. If Marshall stays healthy the whole year, he's probably going to catch 100 balls, whereas Dez isn't. He just isn't going to catch 100 passes probably. And the thing with Dez is not only is the injury risk with him, but if Romo gets hurt, now you have two people that if either one of them get hurt, he drops. Obviously, if he gets hurt, he drops because he's not playing. But if Romo gets hurt, he drops into that like wide receiver 2 range, which isn't really what you want from your wide receiver early. You want to kill it in the first 2 rounds. If you're going to go wide receiver, you don't really want to take risky players. And I feel like if you can go Hopkins Green, there's really no risk there. Whereas if you get Dez and then you try and take a running back that has risk, I feel like you're just filling your roster with too much risk. So I like Marshall and Hopkins ahead of Dez in PPR leagues. Move on to this next tier. And it starts out with a guy I really like. He was on an absolute monster tear to start last year. He was going to finish as a wide receiver 1 before he got hurt. That's Keenan Allen. He is the focal point of that offense. I know they like to use Gates in the red zone. They like to use Woodhead in the red zone. But between the 20s, it's all Keenan Allen. Third down, it's all Keenan Allen. So his floor every week is really high because he catches so many balls. He just jumps ahead of Allen Robinson, who I have ranked higher in standard, because Allen, his ceiling is probably 80 catches. He'll probably get between 70 and 80 catches, maybe 1,200 yards, and like 8 or 9 touchdowns, which is a great year, but it's better in standard just because he doesn't have the volume. So his floor is a little bit lower week to week, but he also has a high ceiling. But I do like Allen a little bit more just because his floor is higher. Next is Evans and Jeffrey, who are 2 guys I really love this year. Jeffrey is a little more of a risk. That's why I have moved him down in standard and PPR, because he already got hurt a little bit in camp. He is so injury prone. It's like every year he gets hurt. So again, I said I want to kill it in my first 2 rounds. I don't want them going down with injury. So I'd rather have Mike Evans, who had a case of the dropsies last year. But the thing is, he could drop half his targets this year and still probably catch like 90 balls. It's insane. He had a down year last year. That's just because of touchdowns. And again, I said touchdowns are fluky. So if you're expecting Allen Robinson to catch 14 again, you need to rethink that, because no one thought that Evans would be healthy pretty much all year and drop from 12 to 3. But that's just what happens. The game is fluky. So if a guy's converting on a high percent of his touchdowns and he gets like 12 like out of nowhere, he's probably not going to do that again. And Evans is a great red zone threat, and yet he got 3 last year. So I think that's going to improve. He'll probably get, I'd say 8 to 10 would be a good range for him. And if he can pair that up with maybe, if he can get 1,210 touchdowns with the amount of targets and catches I think he can get, then he's a great play. Nelson's obviously going to be better than last year because he didn't play. Tore his ACL right at the beginning of camp. And him and Cooper are 2 guys that I'm having trouble with. I'm really not sure who I should rank higher. I know Nelson he's done it before being the guy. It's just, can he come back fully 100% from this injury? If he can, he's a number 1. But if he can't, you're spending a pretty high pick on a guy. that does use explosiveness and speed to his advantage. And Amari Cooper, he's actually came out. I think he said he was injured for most of last year. I don't exactly remember what it was, but he had a lingering issue, and he still had a monster year. He's a super elite talent. Going to be the focal point of that offense. He's going to blow Crabtree out of the water this year. So I really like him, and I've gotten him as wide receiver 3 sometimes, which is great. Love him in that spot. Now we move on to this next tier, and Watkins doesn't make that first tier, or it's actually the third tier, but he doesn't make that tier just before because he has a lot of games where he only catches like 3 balls. And granted, all of them may be like 60-yard touchdowns, but his floor week to week is a lot lower because he just doesn't catch as many passes. But he's still a fantastic wide receiver and a guy that may be undervalued this year, especially in standard. Excuse me. The next guy, Cooks. And Cooks, Demarius Hilton are guys that like you draft and you're not pumped about. Like if you get any of them as your number 2, you're not like, yay, I got Demaryius Thomas as my number 2. Like they're guys I much prefer as flex options because we really don't know. Cooks, he had great weeks, but he also had weeks that were like 2 for 20, which is a lot more what you want from your flex. You want like a boom or bust flex spot. So he's more of a wide receiver 3 in my opinion, just because I like to grab 2 top 10 guys or even 2 top 5 guys if you can. Demarius, I just think is soft. I don't think he's a good wide receiver, but I mean he's proved that he can be the guy. So until he proves otherwise, he's got to stay up here. And Hilton obviously is going to have a better year than last year because we're just going to assume that Luck is better than Hasselbeck. I guess we can't say that for certain, but we can be pretty sure. Next tier starts out Macklin, Tate, Landry, Decker. Love Landry and Decker's value in PPR leagues. I feel like Decker's undervalued every single year, and then he comes out and proves it wrong, and then the next year we underdraft him again. So he's a fantastic guy to have in the flex. I've gotten him as a wide receiver 5 before, which is pretty crazy because he should be a wide receiver 3, but no one values him that way. And Landry, a lot of people dropped because or dropped down in the rankings just because of Devontae Parker. I know Devontae Parker is great, but Landry is too. I mean, he had 194 receptions over his first 2 years, and he was a young rookie. I mean, people are definitely undervaluing Decker and Landry this year, especially in PPR. I'll probably move both of them ahead of Golden Tate, even though I believe Golden Tate has 100 catches potential. He is going to be the second option. They've already said Marvin Jones looks like the guy. So I think I am going to move both Landry and Decker ahead. Macklin, he's just okay. I mean, he's a guy that you just throw in there. I'm probably not going to draft him in any leagues, but you have to put him up there because he's done it. Now we've on to the red tier, where guys I'm a little bit lower on. They all have like their problems. Guys I really like on this list, Jordan Matthews before he has this injury. I don't really know much about the injury, but I guess it's going to take a couple weeks to recover. And I don't generally like drafting guys that are already hurt. But again, he's the only person there, so you don't really know. Edelman's obviously good in PPR because he's like the king of 9 for 90, which is 18 points. I mean, if you're in a non-bonus, so non-100-yard bonus PPR league, he's really good because he loves to get like 99. But I play in a bonus league, and that's really annoying. So not sure I'm going to be drafting him that many times. Floyd and Devontae Parker have huge upside. Much better in standard, though, because they're not going to get the volume targets, the volume of targets that some of these other guys are going to get. Not too crazy about Kelvin Benjamin. I don't think he's that good. I know he's tall and fast and a good red zone target, but he can't catch. He drops a lot of balls, especially in the red zone, especially in contested catch rate is really low. So I'm not going to draft him in any leagues, especially where you need to take him. He's going in I think he's going in the 4th round, and that's just too high for me. I have him as 5th round value, but I'm not even crazy on him in that spot. I like Emmanuel. I think Emmanuel Sanders is a better receiver than Demaryius Thomas is. But do they believe that? And does whoever the quarterback is? I don't even know. Is Sanchez the quarterback? I mean, if he is, they're screwed. But I don't know. I don't even know who it is. I like Kevin White, actually. Kevin White and Tyler Lockett I'll talk about a little bit. So Kevin White is really good, and he's being undervalued because we haven't seen it yet because he's technically a rookie this year. But he's like a super rookie because he's learned the offense. He's got acclimated to working out as an NFL receiver. He's gotten acclimated to the game. He just hasn't played yet. And that's not that much of a disadvantage. He's going to come out, and if there are weeks that Alshon's hurt, he's going to light the game on fire. I mean, he is a monster athletically, and in the 5th round, I think that's perfect value. I wouldn't knock someone taking them. If you went, let's say you started your draft with Bell and Charles, so you've got elite running backs, and then in the 5th round, if you could grab Kevin White as your flex, having 2 wide receivers after that, I think your team has a ton of upside, because I think he's more of an upside play. Maybe he's going to have weeks where he doesn't do that great, but I guarantee you he's going to have at least 1 week where it's 102 touchdowns. I mean, he has that potential. So grabbing a guy this late, that's great value. And also great value is Tyler Lockett. Maybe more in standard. I'm not sure he's going to catch many targets, but Wilson is a fantastic quarterback. Wilson's also undervalued this year, but I mean, I think Lockett's going to take that step up to be his favorite, Wilson's favorite target ahead of Doug Baldwin. I think he's more talented than Doug Baldwin. Maybe next year he'll be the number one, but I really think Tyler Lockett's a great wide receiver and a great value at that spot. This next list, I'm not pumped about anyone on this list in PPR. Coleman is already hurt. He has an injury history. I really, really like his talent and his situation, but he has to be my wide receiver 4. I said Kevin White could be your 3. I don't think Coleman can be your 3. I think he's got to be at least your wide receiver 4. Marvin Jones, same thing. He's probably got to be your wide receiver 4. They have talked about he is the guy. He's getting all the targets from Stafford. Stafford basically likes him more than Tate, which we thought would be the opposite. We thought that Marvin Jones would be taking the number 1 routes, but he'd be targeting Golden Tate a lot. And it looks like Marvin Jones is running the number 1 routes, and he's targeting Marvin Jones. So he might move up in the list, probably ahead of Larry Fitzgerald. He might make his way into that red tier. I want to see it in the preseason. If I see that connection and I see him running great routes, I'm going to move him up to wide receiver 3 range because he has that potential. Torrey Smith, another guy, has a lot of potential because he's the only guy that they have. I think Bruce Ellington is going to be the slot guy, but Torrey Smith is the guy. He's probably going to get a lot of targets, and if he can get a rapport with, I believe it's going to be Gabbert. I think they've come out and said that they want Gabbert to be the guy, and they should because Kaepernick's horrible. But if Gabbert's the guy, I think him and Torrey Smith can get a connection going, and he can potentially make his way to wide receiver 3 range. Shepard, not too crazy about. I think the hype's a little too high on him. Dorsett's really good, but there's no one else on this list I'd want besides Dorsett. Again, I've talked about Dorsett, I think in the late round value picks video, top late round flyers, something like that. He basically is right on par with Moncrief right now. We've got to see in the preseason again. I always say this, but if he is on par with Moncrief and they're running wide, 3 wide routes or 3 wide sets, he's gonna be great value that you can get in. If you can get him in the 9th round as your wide receiver 6, I mean, he's got super upside. I don't care if he has a pretty low floor. If the upside's there, why not take him this late? I mean, Willie Snead doesn't have that upside. Sterling Shepard really doesn't have the same upside that he does. So I'd take Dorsett ahead of those guys. Probably move him ahead of Shepard now that I think of it. So this next tier, move down a little bit into kind of 2 tiers here. I have the note trade after week 4 for Steve Smith. If he has even one 100 touchdown game, trade him immediately because he is going to get hurt. He's 55 or something like that right now. He's going to get hurt. I don't really like anyone on this list, if we're going to be completely honest, because none of them are super involved in the game, and you want guys that are involved in the offense. This is why I take wide receivers early, because when I get to this range, I'm thrilled about no one in PPR, whereas running backs, there's a lot of guys late. I'm oh, he's a good scat back, he's going to catch yards. I mean, Sammy Coates, yes, he's very athletic, could fill that Martavis role, but he's going to have a lot of games where he has 1 for 20, and that's 3 points. And that's not a serviceable option for a wide receiver. Same thing with Deshaun. Maybe he has those 2 for 102 touchdown games, but he's going to have those games with 1 for 6. That's what's all Deshaun does. He literally either goes off or gets 0 or 1 point. So I don't want those guys in PPR leagues. I don't want Josh Gordon. I don't think he's going to be good. He's either going to get hurt, not going to be in shape, going to be traded. Something's going to happen. I don't think he's going to be good this year. Michael Thomas, a lot of people like him, but I don't know because he's probably right. He's right now the number 3 option on that team, and really number 4, because Cooks is by far number 1. Snead is the number 2. If you watch preseason, you watch tape, he's the number 2 right now. And then they're probably going to be targeting Colby Fleener. Got his name for a second. Probably going to be targeting Colby Fleener before Michael Thomas. So they've already talked. He's a playmaker guy. He's just not a guy that's going to be super involved in the offense. So I don't want to take him in my draft. There's just no one on this list that excites me. Marcus Wheaton stinks. Every opportunity he's had, he's failed. So I don't want any of these guys on this list. And as you can probably guess, there's really no one on this list that I really want that much. The only guys would be Vincent Jackson and Kamar Aiken. Again, Travis Benjamin's better in standard, doesn't catch many passes. Sanu, we really have no idea what his role is going to be. Green Beckham, he's athletic, but he's never done it. So until he actually does something good on a football field, I'm not drafting him. The rest of these guys should not be drafted. Jeff Janis, I was a little higher on, but he's now hurt, which stinks. Treadwell, no, don't draft him. He's in a capped offense. He's not even the number 1. So just Kamar Aiken and Vincent Jackson. They have upside because Kamar Aiken, if Steve Smith goes down, he looks like right now he's going to be the number 1. If Smith goes down, he's probably going to start the year as number 2. And let's be honest, Smith's going to get hurt. And Vincent Jackson, people count him out, but he's got a long history of being good. He was hurt last year. Evans is going to get a lot of targets, but he's also going to have a lot of coverage on him, leaving Jackson open. And again, he's huge. He's athletic. He's got touchdown potential. But that's the end of the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hit that like button if you did. Subscribe if you're new. And again, these rankings are all in the description with all the standard rankings as well. And thanks for watching.